Hey folks, that guy Joe here. Go over with you my new Leatherman pouch made by Benchcraft. I'm replacing the nylon pouch I got with my rebar because the Velcro, as you can hear, is worn out. I've had this thing for about 4 years. It's held up well, but the Velcro just isn't doing its job anymore. So I started looking for a replacement pouch. I thought about going with one of the new snap pouches from Leatherman. Thought maybe I'd pursue another option. I found this Benchcraft pouch on Amazon, and it had fairly good reviews, so I thought I'd give it a shot. They go by the philosophy that stitches don't hold up as well as rivets, and they try and use a one-piece design. Well, they use a one-piece design. It's got its advantages and its drawbacks. One thing I noticed immediately when I got this was how loosely the rebar fits in it. And this is the pouch that was listed specifically for the rebar. You can see there's a lot of space in there, and it just falls right out when unsnapped. A lot of that's because this is not wet molded. It is just folded into shape and riveted together. If you go to Benchcraft site, they only list a couple of different sizes for the rebar tools, and it's kind of universal. This size is universal for the mid-size tool. It's supposed to fit the Wave, the Charge, and a few other tools as well. So the other thing I noticed when I went to put this thing on my belt the first time, this seam for the one piece is right in the back between the belt loop, and when you go to thread your belt in there, it tends to catch on that seam. There's a little bit of gap there, probably an eighth of an inch gap, and you just have to feed your finger in there and push the leather in. It's not a huge deal, but worth mentioning. A little bit of an inconvenience when trying to don this on your belt. The other thing I noticed right away was how much wider this is and protrudes out. It prints pretty well underneath my shirt. Not a huge issue where I work, but the problem really with it protruding out that far is it catches on everything. I have it catching on my seat, have it catching on walls when I'm working in tight areas, where the nylon pouch is just much thinner profile, a bit sleeker. And going along that same note, since this thing sticks out so far and it's not tightly molded, I mean, you can see the gap there between the rivet and the pouch itself. I mean, that's huge. And it doesn't take much brushing up against this for the snap to come loose. And as loose as that tool is in there, I'm afraid this thing's gonna fall out somewhere, and I'm gonna lose the rebar. So I'm gonna be returning this. It just doesn't fit my needs because of how loose the tool fits in it and how easy it is to unsnap. I've worn this thing for about a week, a little over a week, and I've had it come loose on me several different times throughout that period, and I've not been doing anything crazy or abnormal. I'll be searching for a replacement still. I may go with something like a magazine pouch. I have this wet molded single stack pouch for a 9 or a 40 that this fits in very snugly. I think after working it some and having it sit in there, it would loosen up. But I like the idea of a snap closure. I think this would retain it fairly well, but still not what I'm looking for. And I'm not sold on the principle that stitches can't hold up. Again, I've had this pouch for 4 years. All the stitching's fine. I've had this for a few years now, and the stitching on it's fine. I've had my leather wallet for 15 years or better, and the stitching on it's just starting to fray. So I'm sure the rivets are a solid design, but leather's been stitched for many, many years, and it's just the quality of the craftsmanship, I believe, that has more to do with how that holds up, the quality of the materials, than the stitching itself. So there's my take on the Benchcraft pouch. It may work for some, but it doesn't work for me. I'll see you guys next time.